This is what Real Madrid has been missing. This was the missing piece of the puzzle. And this is why Real Madrid have been awful this season. Because he has not been there. Trent Alexander-Arnold was nowhere to be seen this season, and no wonder Real Madrid have been shit. What an absolute clinical, phenomenal performance I've seen from Trent Alexander-Arnold today, because Real Madrid 4, Real Sociedad 1. That was an absolutely phenomenal performance from Real Madrid today, all because of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, there was penalties, there was so many things in this game, so let's just get into it. And of course, for people that have watched my content this kind of week or this kind of month, they know what my thoughts are on this Real Madrid team. They know my thoughts on Arbeloa. They know my thoughts on Perez. So every game I go into it and I look at Real Madrid and I think, you know what? I don't know what to expect. But as soon as I seen Trent Alexander-Arnold back in the starting lineup, I knew Real Madrid was in for something special. Because of course against Valencia, you seen it when he came on in the last 15 minutes. You seen what a change in Real Madrid that this guy does, just in terms of his ball progression and his long balls and just his IQ that Real Madrid don't have, unfortunately, with other players. And seeing that against Valencia, I was just like, we need this guy back. Now of course he suffered with so many injuries, but he was back today, and what a performance he was. And he started it off absolutely unbelievable, where he did a beautiful David Beckham-esque cross to Gonzalo Garcia, who scores again, who opened scoring of the game. That's now 6 goals in 6 starts for Gonzalo Garcia. Look, I've said it before, a proper striker and a proper box present, player, which is what Real Madrid need in games like that, and that's what he showed again today. But look, that goal was all made by Trent Alexander-Arnold, but of course the finish was absolutely phenomenal by Gonzalo as well. Just a bit of a depth touch in the bottom corner. It's unstoppable for the keeper. There is no way he can get into it. And look, I said it before the game, Sociedad are going to start quickly and Sociedad are going to start high, because look, they're unbeaten in 5 games. They're unbeaten in 11 games in total in all competitions under their new manager Matarazzo. So look, it wasn't going to be an easy game, but being Trent in the team just gives Real Madrid this extra ball progression and just that extra cheat code, which is what he is. And today we've seen him and Fede really combine really well, where the interchange, where if Trent goes into the midfield, Fede Valverde will go back into right back and fill in for Trent, because we know how good Trent is when he gets on the ball. And look, Real Madrid have massively struggled, of course, with ball progression, as we know, but Trent Alexander-Arnold was just phenomenal today. And not just his assists for Gonzalo, just some of his passing was just unbelievable. He just needs one touch. He needs one touch, one vision. He just looks up and he sends that ball, and he's just unbelievable. And this is exactly what Real Madrid have been missing this season, because Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde, even Jude Bellingham, they don't have that ability. They're just different type of midfielders. They're not that profile. And when I seen the midfield, let's just talk about the lineup, of course. In goal, Courtois, right back Trent, Alvaro Carreras at left back, and Huijsen and Rudiger returns to the starting lineup as well, which was a plus again. In midfield was Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde and Camavinga, as I've just said. And up front was Vini Jr., Gonzalo Garcia and Arda Güler. And of course, Mbappe was said to have some struggles before the game. I even said on my X, listen, we don't need to push him to get into the team. Let's just rest him, or let's just, give him a few minutes. Don't risk him if, of course, there's going to be a recurring injury with Benfica coming on the weekend. But look, Real Madrid, solid start to the game. Of course, Gonzalo Garcia getting that goal from Abdul, brilliant assist to Trent, but Trent was just finding Vini. He was finding the guys making runs in behind with ease. He found Fede as well at times, and him and Fede are developing a great understanding on that right side, because Fede knows when to go and when to kind of make the correct run. And Trent was finding him on more than one occasion, and it was unbelievable to watch. And he could have got more assists today. He was phenomenal. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he got took off in the 65th minute for Dani Carvajal, who came on in that second half. But let's just talk about the rest of the goals. Of course, second goal of the game was a Vini Jr. penalty, but just before that, Real Madrid gave away a penalty by Dean Huijsen yet again. Now look, Dean Huijsen continues his post-Atleti awful form. He continues his, chill dude mentality. And today he just completely mistimed his tackle and miscalculated his tackle is a better word for me, to be honest, because he could have got there. What he did was correct, but he just mistimed it. And look, Oyarzabal, tucks away the penalty, which is fantastic. And another thing, Courtois he's just awful at saving penalties. I mean, that continues again. And so look, it went 1-1, and then Real Madrid got their own penalty. And look, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to be completely honest, as you know. I don't think any of the penalties for Real Madrid should have been given. I'm going to be completely honest. They were very, very soft penalties. Now look, were they in contention to be a penalty? Absolutely. Vini Jr. won both penalties, and Aran Barro, the right back for Sociedad, just got cooked by Vini in terms of the first sprint. But as soon as Vini tried to cut in or do a bit of a trick or kind of, stop the ball so he could, use the momentum to go the other way, he just couldn't handle it. And I felt like he was overcompensating for that reason. And obviously he was lunging in. And I just thought the first penalty, Vinicius Jr. cuts the ball back, and as he's moving, I don't think there's that much contact. Now, he's pretty similar to Lamine Yamal against Atletico, where he kind of goes in between the legs of the player, and he kind of runs into the legs. And I just don't think these penalties should be given. And again, I don't know why VAR isn't checking it. Now, of course, you could say that VAR only checks a clear and obvious error. I understand that, but I just don't think that was a penalty. But look, Vini Jr. tucks away his penalty, which I don't think it was a fantastic penalty, which he never is with Vini. I think he's missed his last 2 penalties as well. But look, it went in, and of course, it was then 2-1 to Real Madrid. Real Madrid then continued the momentum. Fede Valverde getting the 3rd goal of the game. Carreras finding him beautifully just outside the box. And, if you give Fede Valverde that time outside the box, he's going to do what he did, which is bang it in the top corner. And look, Real Madrid 3-1 were absolutely comfortable and flying. The chance creation wasn't crazy. I mean, again, I've said it before, this midfield aren't unable to, make proper chances. And we know this, but, in terms of Trent being in the team, it was just a cheat code. And Trent, just before that goal, actually sent Vinicius Jr. 1v1. But Vini, again, just doesn't have that ability to finish guys 1v1 anymore. And look, the ball recycles. Of course, Carrera gets outside the box, and fantastic turn by Fede, who just bangs it top bin. So great goal by Fede, and Real Madrid were comfortable, as I said. 1.87 XG in that first half. Now 1.09 apart from the penalty, of course. As we know, the penalty is going to take out more of the XG. Real Madrid had 6 shots, 3 on target, and 3 big chances. So look, Real Madrid created big chances as per se. I don't think they were clear-cut chances. I thought Gonzalo Garcia had a few moments as well where he could have done a lot better in that first half. But look, Real Madrid had a good enough half, to go up. I thought Sociedad were very disappointing. I mean, look, 0.95 expected goals. Now, of course, that was their penalty. Apart from that, 4 shots, 1 on target, 1 big chances created. So Sociedad really, really disappointed today. Then immediately in that second half, Real Madrid then get another penalty, which again, like I said before, guys, I'm going to be honest, I didn't think they were penalties whatsoever. Now, the second one was a bit different. Now, Vinicius Jr. actually does get past the defender, and he over kind of compensate for his lack of defensive ability, should I say, and he kind of lunges in to try to take the ball. Now, when you watch the replay back, it does look like he gets a bit of the ball, but he gets most of the player as well. So I can understand both sides, but again, I just think if you're already given a penalty which is soft, I think VAR should have intervened then and said, look, this is a second kind of, soft penalty. Let's at least have a look at it and give, the benefit of the doubt. But look, Real Madrid were given that penalty again. Like I said, I think it was very soft. And look, Barcelona fans, I bet you feel really hard done by with that, because, of course, Barcelona have situations where they don't get given penalties. So Real Madrid are very fortunate to get that penalty, which Vinicius Jr. took again and scored again. So that was 2 goals from him tonight. The second one was a lot better penalty, right in the corner. And look, Real Madrid went up 4-1. And then Arbeloa rang the subs. Of course, Trent and Rudiger starting again after being injured for so long. They were the first one to be taken out for Carvajal and Alaba, which I thought was excellent substitutions. This is what I'm talking about management, of course, with Benfica coming up on the week. A huge game on the week. So Real Madrid don't want any recurring injuries. And we can't lose Trent. We can't lose Trent. I'll get on to Trent more in a minute. Then, of course, Sestero came on for Tchouaméni. And we also seen Brahim coming on in that second half as well. So look, Real Madrid comfortable win tonight here. Look at the stats towards the end. 3.10 XG, 11 shots, 5 on target, and 5 big chances towards the end. So Real Madrid could have scored even 5 and 6 towards the end. Of course, with Sociedad trying to push to get a few goals. There was a lot of space on the counter. But we have to talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. I can't believe also that Xabi Alonso wasn't given enough time to work with him, because as we know, Xabi Alonso with the Liverpool kind of, background, the Liverpool connection with Trent, of course, it would have been perfect. And we've seen Trent in them Olympiacos games, in that Bilbao game, just before he got injured again. We've seen how well Real Madrid played. Of course, there's a different style of play with, the opposition, but Real Madrid phenomenal with Trent. And I just think it's just a shame that Alonso wasn't given the whole season at least, so we could have seen Trent under Alonso, and the results would have improved because of how good Trent is. Now, look, I'm not saying Trent is just the answer, because of course Trent against the big teams with a good left winger can still be an issue. That's why Fede has to be in the team on that right centre mid position, because he can then defend and he can help Trent on that right side whenever Trent goes forward. So I do think they can double up on that side and he can get that support as he did with Szoboszlai for Liverpool. So I just think having Trent in the team, with the lack of profiles Real Madrid have in terms of build-up and in terms of creativity, it's a no-brainer. Trent Alexander-Arnold completely revolutionised Real Madrid's attack tonight, and he has done in the times that he's played this season. So I just think, Trent Alexander-Arnold is so vital that he stays fit, and I really hope this is something, for us to see for the future. Of course, that was a big win, because that takes Real Madrid 2 points clear of Barcelona, who will play on Monday against Girona. Of course, you will see that match reaction. So Real Madrid putting the pressure back on Barcelona after the 4-0 loss against Atletico. So look, this was a good win. This was a Trent, masterclass, and this was what's needed. But we're not going to get carried away, but that was what needed when it comes to a guy like Trent. We need him fit and we need him playing every single week. So of course, Real Madrid fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who was your man of the match? How much did you enjoy that Trent Alexander-Arnold performance? Because I know I did. And what do you think going forward? What do you think is the best solution for Real Madrid, especially against Benfica? Do Real Madrid need to change something still, or is there optimism now? And of course, Barcelona fans, let me know your thoughts on that performance. Let me know your thoughts on them penalties. I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, Hala Madrid.